Talking about your goals and ambitions feels good. It gives you a sense of progress, a momentary high, as if simply declaring your intentions is enough to set you on the path to success. But that feeling is deceptive. Words, in and of themselves, accomplish nothing. They don't move you forward. They don't build competence. They don't generate results. Action does. And the more time you spend talking, the less time you spend actually doing. This is one of the biggest traps people fall into. They convince themselves that discussing their plans is the same as executing them. They make promises, set grand ambitions, and announce their goals to the world, thinking that the external validation they receive will push them forward. But what often happens instead is that the praise, the encouragement, the recognition, they all create a false sense of achievement. The brain rewards words as if they were deeds, and before you know it, you've wasted your energy in conversation rather than in tangible progress. The truth is, action is the only thing that matters. If you want to get stronger, don't talk about working out. Go to the gym, lift the weights, push through the discomfort. If you want to become smarter, don't endlessly discuss your desire to read more books. Open one and start reading. If you want to be more disciplined, don't tell yourself you'll start tomorrow. Begin right now. The people who succeed, who truly make something of themselves, are those who prioritize movement over speech, results over rhetoric. Action forces you to face reality. It is unfiltered, raw, and honest. When you act, there's no room for illusions. You either succeed or you fail. And if you fail, you learn. But when you rely on words, you can manipulate perception. You can make yourself and others believe you're progressing, when in reality, you're stagnant. It's easier to tell people you're going to start a business than to actually build one. It's easier to complain about your situation than to change it, but easy does not lead to strength. Easy leads to mediocrity. There's also a psychological shift that occurs when you prioritize action. Every time you take real steps toward a goal, no matter how small, you build momentum. You prove to yourself that you are capable, and with each step, your confidence grows. Not the hollow confidence that comes from empty words, but the unshakable confidence that comes from experience. You become someone who does rather than someone who merely intends. And that shift over time transforms your entire life. One of the biggest advantages of focusing on action over words is that it eliminates the need for external validation. When you act, your results speak for you. You don't have to convince anyone of your worth because your competence becomes self-evident. This is what separates those who achieve from those who merely dream. The people who truly master a skill, who build real success, are too busy working to seek constant validation. They don't need to tell everyone about their ambitions because they're already in the process of making them a reality. Moreover, when you act, you develop resilience. Talking about difficulties does not prepare you to face them. Experience does. There is no substitute for doing the hard work. No amount of discussion can replicate the lessons learned through effort, failure, and persistence. Every time you take action, you strengthen yourself, and over time, you become someone who thrives under pressure rather than someone who folds when faced with adversity. Another crucial aspect of prioritizing action is that it teaches you patience. Real progress takes time. Success is not built overnight and results do not appear instantly. But when you commit to consistent action, you begin to appreciate the long-term process. You stop expecting immediate gratification and instead focus on steady improvement. And this shift in mindset is what ultimately separates those who succeed from those who give up. So if you find yourself constantly talking about what you want to do, take a step back. Ask yourself, are you actually making progress, or are you just creating the illusion of it? Are your words backed by action, or are they empty promises? The answer to these questions will determine the trajectory of your life. Stop announcing your plans. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop relying on words to give you a sense of accomplishment. Start doing. Start failing. Start learning. Because in the end, action is the only thing that will ever move you forward. Silence is often misunderstood. Many people associate it with weakness, uncertainty, or lack of confidence. They assume that those who remain quiet do so because they have nothing to say. But this is far from the truth. Silence, when mastered, is one of the most powerful tools a person can possess. It is a sign of control, of discipline, and of deep understanding. Those who can remain silent in a world that constantly demands noise are often the ones who hold the most power. In today's world, people talk endlessly. They express opinions, argue, seek validation, and attempt to prove their worth through words. Social media has amplified this tendency, making it easier than ever for people to share every thought that crosses their mind. But very few people stop to ask themselves, does speaking actually serve me? Does constantly expressing my thoughts make me stronger, or does it dilute my influence? More often than not, the answer is the latter. Speaking too much diminishes the weight of your words. The more you talk, the less people listen. The more you reveal, the more vulnerable you become. Silence, on the other hand, forces people to pay attention when you do decide to speak. Those who talk sparingly, who choose their words carefully, command more respect than those who speak without restraint. When a person who is known for their silence finally speaks, their words carry significance. They have taken the time to think, to observe, to understand, and when they finally voice their thoughts, they do so with authority. Mastering silence also means mastering observation. When you remain silent, you listen more. You see things that others miss. You notice patterns in behavior, weaknesses in arguments, and the true intentions of those around you. Silence allows you to analyze situations before reacting, to gather knowledge before forming an opinion, and to act with precision rather than impulse. Many conflicts, misunderstandings, and mistakes stem from speaking too soon, from reacting before fully understanding the situation. But when you develop the habit of remaining silent and watching, you gain an advantage. You make fewer mistakes. You position yourself strategically. Beyond that, silence is a form of strength. Many people feel uncomfortable with it. They rush to fill the void with words because they fear the weight of quiet. But those who can sit in silence, who do not feel the need to constantly speak, demonstrate a level of inner stability that few possess. They are not seeking approval. They do not need to be heard to feel important. Their presence alone is enough. There is also a tactical element to silence. When you withhold your thoughts, you become unpredictable. People cannot manipulate you if they do not know what you are thinking. They cannot use your words against you if you have not given them any to use. Many people sabotage themselves simply by talking too much, by revealing their plans too early, by voicing emotions that could have been managed privately, or by giving away their thoughts to those who do not deserve to hear them. Silence protects you. It keeps your intentions hidden until you are ready to act. Silence is also a tool for self-discipline. It requires restraint, patience, and control. It teaches you to resist the urge to react emotionally, to pause before speaking, and to ensure that when you do communicate, it is with purpose. This discipline extends beyond speech. It influences the way you carry yourself, the way you handle challenges, and the way you approach life. A person who has mastered silence does not waste energy on unnecessary words, just as they do not waste effort on meaningless actions. Moreover, silence is a gateway to deeper thinking. Constant talking and external noise leave little room for introspection. But when you embrace silence, you create space for self-reflection. You gain clarity, you sharpen your thoughts, and you develop a level of self-awareness that cannot be achieved through endless conversation. Some of the greatest minds in history spent long periods in silence, not because they had nothing to say, but because they understood that wisdom comes from reflection, not from constant expression. When you learn to master silence, you become a person of depth, of thoughtfulness, and of influence. You speak only when necessary, and when you do, people listen. You observe before you act, ensuring that every move you make is calculated. You develop the ability to navigate the world with patience and precision rather than impulse and noise. So, embrace silence, use it to build strength, to sharpen your mind, and to protect your energy. Speak only when your words serve a purpose. And in doing so, you will find that you hold far more power than those who have not yet learned the value of keeping quiet. Discipline is the foundation of self-improvement. Without it, progress is impossible. Many people have dreams, ambitions, and the desire to become better, but very few are willing to do what it takes consistently. They wait for motivation, but motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes, rising in moments of inspiration and disappearing when things become difficult. Discipline, however, remains. It is what keeps you moving forward when motivation fades, when challenges arise, and when everything in you wants to quit. Self-improvement is not about grand gestures or sudden transformations. It is built through small, consistent actions repeated over time. It is waking up early when you would rather sleep in. It is choosing to work out when you don't feel like it. It is studying, reading, practicing, and refining your skills every day, even when there are no immediate rewards. Most people fail to improve because they expect quick results. They want to change overnight, and when that doesn't happen, they give up. But real growth requires patience. It demands discipline, the ability to show up every day, regardless of how you feel. The disciplined person does not rely on emotions to dictate their actions. They do not ask themselves, "Do I feel like doing this today?" because the answer will often be no. Instead, they have already decided that they will do what is necessary, no matter the circumstances. This mindset separates those who succeed from those who remain stagnant. A key aspect of self-improvement is taking responsibility. Many people blame external factors for their failures, their upbringing, their environment, other people's actions. But as long as you place responsibility outside yourself, you remain powerless. Discipline requires that you accept full ownership of your life. It means understanding that your circumstances do not define you, but your response to them does. No one is going to come and fix your life for you. No one is going to force you to improve. It is entirely up to you. The moment you embrace this truth, you gain the power to change. Another essential element of discipline is structure. Chaos breeds weakness, while structure creates strength. If you wake up every day without a plan, allowing distractions to dictate your time, you will achieve nothing. But if you create a system, a routine that prioritizes your growth, you remove the need for constant decision-making. You no longer have to negotiate with yourself about whether or not to work on your goals. It becomes automatic. You train yourself to follow through, no matter what. Discipline also teaches resilience. Life is unpredictable. There will be failures, setbacks, and moments of doubt. Without discipline, these obstacles will stop you. You will convince yourself that the struggle is too great, that success is not meant for you. But discipline builds the ability to push through difficulty. It teaches you that failure is not the end, but a necessary part of growth. Every time you get back up after falling, you become stronger. Every time you choose to keep going instead of quitting, you prove to yourself that you are capable. Over time, this resilience becomes a defining trait. You no longer fear challenges because you know you can handle them. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that discipline is restrictive, that it takes away freedom. In reality, discipline is what creates freedom. The person who lacks discipline is a slave to their impulses, their emotions, and their circumstances. They do what feels good in the moment without thinking about the consequences. But the disciplined person has control. They decide how their time is spent. They are not ruled by distractions, laziness, or bad habits. They have built the ability to delay gratification, to sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term success. And as a result, they achieve what others only dream about. Self-improvement is not something that happens once. It is a lifelong commitment. There is no final destination, no point at which you can say, I am done. There is always room for growth, always another level to reach. This is why discipline must be permanent. You do not train yourself to be disciplined for a few weeks or months. You train yourself for life. The moment you stop improving is the moment you start declining. If you truly want to become better, start by mastering discipline. Do not wait for motivation. Do not rely on fleeting inspiration. Build habits that push you forward and follow them relentlessly. Take full responsibility for your growth. Create structure in your life. Develop resilience. And understand that self-improvement is not about what you do occasionally. The disciplined person is the one who succeeds not because they are more talented, more intelligent, or luckier than others, but because they have trained themselves to do the work no matter what. They have built the ability to improve themselves every day, and in doing so, they have set themselves apart from the rest. Be that person. Take control. Start now. Many people live their lives seeking validation from others. They crave approval, constantly looking for reassurance that they are doing the right thing, that they are good enough, that their choices are justified. They shape their actions, opinions, and even their identities based on how others perceive them. But this is a dangerous way to live. When you seek validation, you give other people control over your life. Your confidence becomes dependent on their approval, and your self-worth is no longer yours to define. Seeking validation is a form of weakness, not because it means you are unworthy, but because it makes you dependent. When you need others to affirm your decisions, you lose your ability to think and act independently. Instead of doing what is right for you, you do what will get you the most praise, the most likes, the most recognition. But external validation is fleeting. The same people who praise you today may criticize you tomorrow. The approval you work so hard for can disappear in an instant. If your sense of self is built on what others think, then you will always be vulnerable, constantly adjusting yourself to meet the expectations of people who may not even truly understand you. True confidence does not come from validation. It comes from knowing who you are, from having a deep internal sense of self-worth that is not shaken by opinions. The strongest people are those who act based on their own principles, not based on how much approval they will receive. They do not need constant reassurance because they trust themselves. They understand that not everyone will agree with them, and that is fine. They do not need the world to applaud them in order to continue doing what they believe is right. One of the biggest traps of seeking validation is that it creates a cycle of dependency. The more you rely on approval, the more you crave it. It becomes addictive. You start shaping your life around getting positive feedback. Instead of making bold decisions, you play it safe. Instead of expressing your true thoughts, you say what will be accepted. And over time, you lose your individuality. You become a version of yourself that exists for the pleasure of others, not for your own growth and fulfillment. Avoiding the need for validation requires self-discipline. It requires training your mind to stop seeking approval and instead focus on your own standards. Ask yourself, are you doing something because it truly matters to you, or because you want others to admire you for it? If no one were watching, if no one were to praise you, would you still make the same choice? If the answer is no, then your actions are not truly yours. They are being shaped by an external force. This is not to say that feedback is useless. There is value in learning from others, in listening to perspectives that challenge you. But there is a difference between learning from others and depending on them for validation. A person who values growth listens to advice and criticism, but they do not let it define them. They take what is useful, discard what is not, and continue forward. But a person who is trapped in validation seeking allows every opinion to shape their self-worth. They fear rejection so much that they hesitate to take risks, to stand out, to pursue something that might not be immediately popular. Another consequence of seeking validation is that it makes you easy to manipulate. If people know that you crave approval, they can control you by giving or withholding it. They can pressure you into doing things that go against your values simply because they know you fear disapproval. The person who does not need validation, however, cannot be controlled in this way. They do what is right, not what is popular. They do not chase approval, and because of this, they are free. Freedom from validation does not mean rejecting all social connection or living in complete isolation. It means being secure enough in yourself that you do not need constant reassurance. It means being comfortable with the idea that not everyone will agree with you, and that is okay. It means making choices based on your own values and vision, not based on what will earn the most applause. If you truly want to grow, stop asking for permission. Stop waiting for approval before you act. Stop shaping your identity based on how others see you. Focus on building real confidence, the kind that comes from knowing you are capable, from proving to yourself that you can handle life's challenges. Live in a way that aligns with your principles, not with other people's expectations. The moment you stop needing validation is the moment you become truly powerful. In today's world, oversharing has become the norm. Social media has made it easier than ever for people to broadcast their thoughts, emotions, and personal details to a vast audience. Many feel an almost compulsive need to share everything, what they are doing, what they are thinking, and even their most private struggles. While openness and honesty have their place, excessive sharing comes with serious consequences. When you reveal too much about yourself to the wrong people, you give away your power. You make yourself vulnerable in ways that can be used against you, and you risk losing control over your own narrative. One of the biggest dangers of oversharing is that it exposes you to unnecessary judgment. The more people know about your life, the more they feel entitled to form opinions about it. Not everyone who listens to you wants the best for you. Some people will take what you share and twist it, use it to undermine you, or simply use it as a source of entertainment. When you reveal too much, you invite unnecessary scrutiny. People will criticize your choices, offer unsolicited advice, or gossip about you behind your back. The fewer people who know the intimate details of your life, the more control you have over your own reputation. Another problem with oversharing is that it creates a false sense of connection. Many people share personal struggles online or with acquaintances, hoping to receive support and validation. But the reality is that most people are not as invested in your life as you think. Some may express sympathy, but their interest is often fleeting. Others may pretend to care while secretly judging or feeling superior. True support comes from those who genuinely care about you, not from casual listeners or virtual strangers. Instead of seeking comfort through oversharing, build a small, trustworthy circle of people who truly have your best interests at heart. Oversharing also weakens your sense of self-discipline. When you constantly talk about your plans and ambitions, you trick yourself into believing you are making progress when in reality you have done nothing yet. Talking about what you intend to do provides a temporary sense of accomplishment, but it does not replace real action. In many cases, sharing your goals too early can actually decrease your motivation. The praise and encouragement you receive for simply stating your intentions can create a false sense of achievement, making you less likely to follow through. The most successful people do not announce their every move. They work in silence and let their results speak for themselves. Furthermore, oversharing can make you a target for manipulation. The more people know about your fears, weaknesses, and insecurities, the easier it is for them to exploit you. People with bad intentions will use your own words against you, whether in personal relationships, the workplace, or social circles. They will remember your vulnerabilities and bring them up when it benefits them, They will take your confessions and use them to manipulate your emotions. A person who shares too much gives others an unnecessary advantage over them. Those who maintain a sense of privacy and mystery, however, are far harder to control. Another overlooked consequence of oversharing is that it devalues your personal experiences. Not everything in life needs to be broadcast. Some moments are meant to be private, to be cherished without the need for outside validation. When you constantly share your highs and lows with the world, you dilute the meaning of those experiences. You turn deeply personal moments into public events, and in doing so, you rob them of their depth and significance. There is power in keeping certain things to yourself. It allows you to process them fully, to reflect without external noise, and to develop a deeper understanding of yourself. In addition, oversharing often leads to regret. Many people reveal things in the heat of emotion when they are angry, sad, or frustrated, only to later wish they had kept those thoughts to themselves. What feels like an important revelation in the moment may later seem unnecessary or even foolish. But once something has been shared, it cannot be taken back. Even if you delete a post or apologize for a statement, the information is already out there. It has been heard, remembered, and possibly even spread further than you intended. Practicing restraint in what you share protects you from saying things you will later regret. The key to avoiding oversharing is learning the value of privacy and discernment. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts, emotions, or personal history. Choose carefully whom you confide in. Build a small, trusted circle of people with whom you can share your struggles and successes without fear of judgment or betrayal. Keep your plans private until they are realized. Share selectively, not impulsively. And most importantly, develop the ability to sit with your own thoughts without feeling the need to broadcast them to the world. Privacy is power. The less people know about your personal life, the more control you have over your future. When you learn to value discretion over constant expression, you become stronger, more independent, and less influenced by the opinions of others. Hold your thoughts close. Protect your energy and understand that not every part of your life needs to be put on display. In doing so, you safeguard your peace, maintain your dignity, and command greater respect from those around you. In any situation where communication matters, whether in the workplace, in personal relationships, or in moments of conflict, how you speak determines how you are perceived. Many people allow their emotions to dictate their words, believing that passion alone will make them persuasive. But raw emotion without control often weakens an argument rather than strengthening it. True influence comes not from emotional outbursts, but from calm, measured authority. Speaking with authority commands respect. Speaking with emotion alone often diminishes it. When people speak emotionally, they tend to lose control of their message. Their words become reactive rather than deliberate. They may raise their voice, use exaggerated language, or say things they later regret. In these moments, their credibility takes a hit. Others stop listening to the substance of their words and focus instead on their emotional state. A person who appears emotional rather than composed is often dismissed. Not because their ideas are invalid, but because they seem unable to handle the conversation with clarity and control. Authority in speech does not mean speaking without feeling. It means ensuring that your emotions do not override your logic. It means expressing yourself in a way that makes people take you seriously. When you speak with authority, you speak clearly, concisely, and confidently. You do not rush to respond impulsively. You take a moment to think, to process, and to craft your words in a way that carries weight. This type of speech is powerful because it is intentional. It does not rely on emotional appeal alone, but is backed by reason, conviction, and clarity. One of the most important aspects of speaking with authority is tone. A steady, controlled tone conveys confidence. A voice that wavers, rises in frustration, or becomes too fast-paced signals insecurity or desperation. The person who speaks with authority does not need to shout to be heard. Their words alone carry enough weight to command attention. They do not beg for agreement or react defensively to opposition. Instead, they present their thoughts in a way that forces people to listen and consider their point of view. Another critical element is word choice. Those who rely on emotion often exaggerate, overuse dramatic language, or fill their speech with unnecessary words. They may say things like, "This is the absolute worst thing ever," or "I can't believe how unfair this is." These statements may feel powerful in the moment, but they lack precision. Someone who speaks with authority, on the other hand, focuses on facts and logical reasoning. Instead of saying, "This is the worst," they will say, "This is ineffective because." Instead of reacting with, "I can't believe this," they will say, "This approach creates problems for these reasons." The difference is subtle but significant. Authority is about making strong, undeniable points, not just expressing frustration. Listening also plays a crucial role. Many people assume that speaking with authority means dominating conversations, but the most influential communicators know when to be silent. They listen before they speak, gathering information, assessing the situation, and choosing their words carefully. When they finally respond, their words carry more impact because they have taken the time to understand. They do not speak simply to react. They speak to contribute something meaningful. Another advantage of authoritative speech is that it keeps conversations productive. Emotional speech often escalates situations, leading to arguments rather than solutions. People become defensive when they feel attacked by overly emotional language. But when you speak with authority, calmly and rationally, you create space for real discussion. Even those who disagree with you are more likely to listen because you are presenting ideas, not just emotions. You are controlling the conversation rather than letting the conversation control you. This approach is particularly important in leadership. Leaders who cannot control their emotions while speaking lose respect. People do not trust leaders who seem easily rattled, reactive, or emotionally unstable. But a leader who speaks with confidence, clarity, and authority inspires trust. They project strength even in difficult situations. They remain composed under pressure, setting the tone for those around them. Their words are not driven by fear, frustration, or anger, but by a steady and strategic mindset. Speaking with authority also benefits personal relationships. In disagreements, emotional speech often leads to miscommunication, defensiveness, and unnecessary conflict. But when you express your thoughts in a composed and clear manner, people listen rather than react. They may not always agree, but they will respect your ability to communicate with maturity. Over time, this approach builds stronger, more effective relationships. One's based on respect rather than emotional volatility. To develop authoritative speech, practice restraint. Do not speak impulsively. Take time to think before you respond. Lower your voice instead of raising it. Choose words that are specific, clear, and backed by reason. Focus on delivering a message, not just expressing a feeling. And most importantly, train yourself to remain calm in all situations. Composure is power. The person who remains steady while others become emotional will always be the one who is truly heard. Speaking with authority is a skill that sets people apart. It allows you to lead, to persuade, and to command respect. It ensures that your words carry weight, that your ideas are taken seriously, and that your influence grows over time. Emotion alone is not enough. Control, clarity, and confidence are what truly make an impact.